As a gentle reminder, every time that you are on these meetings, understand that nothing else in your life matters. Actually, nothing matters at all right now. Even your spiritual practice, your spiritual evolution, your seeking of truth or enlightenment, these things hold no meaning right now. Because, through our personal life, when you're out and about in the world, there's such a great weight to always be moving towards something, to always needing to make something happen, to always make sense out of things, to always need something, you know? The person is endlessly needy. That's why it's so restless and full of suffering. So, needing something, wanting something, caring about something, these are heavy weights which we are always carrying around, knowingly or unknowingly. It is a limitation, it is a contraction. And all of that must dissolve. It all must melt away in the fire of this meeting, in the fire of your practice. Ironically, our practice isn't aimed to get you somewhere, it is actually to relinquish the attachment to getting somewhere. So when we come together in this way and we're about to maybe sit for a little bit of a period of silence or guidance or even just discussion, it is like we must become totally empty of caring, wanting, needing, expecting, future, past. Because somewhere there's an assumption that there is a person who does all of these things. There's a person who cares. There's a person who wants. There's a person who hates. There's a person who resists. There's a person who craves. There's a person who likes. There's a person who is seeking. But actually there's no person doing any of these things or making any of these efforts. The combination of these efforts, the culmination of these efforts is what we call person. The person isn't a thing who has all of these things as possessions or activities. The sum of these energies, the sum of these cravings and resistances and ideas and likes and dislikes is the persona, the person. And when you give yourself the gift during these meetings, during your sit down practice, during the day, or even during your practice through the day when you are out and about, but you take the time to just become totally and utterly empty. When you give yourself the gift of allowing in this moment nothing to matter, not needing anything, not wanting anything, not caring for anything, simply being, just a letting go of all effort, relinquishment of ownership, attachment, just letting those concepts rest for a moment. In that moment, there is no person. Until once again, you start thinking about yourself as a person. Confirm this for yourself here and now, if you wish. Let go of all your thoughts, let go of all concern, care, and see if in that absence of all of these notions, there is anybody left. Until once again, you start thinking and creating that somebody. Mhm. Thinking is an endless efforting. And this endless efforting is what comprises the person. So, our practice, our work is to discover the effortless dimension of being or awareness. In awareness, there's no effort, there's no choice, there's no doing, there's no intention, there's no motive, there's no desire or fear. You're not doing it. It is the only thing that does not belong to you, the person. So, this is a simple work of noticing the awareness which is already and always present. Become aware of this very faculty of awareness, which is already and always present. For a while, this act of noticing awareness, being aware of awareness, for a while it will seem effortful. But make the effort and start to taste the effortless. Because the effort being made right now appears to be my effort, my doing. But gradually, as you begin to taste the effortless, you will see that it was never my effort. There was always awareness of that effort, effortless awareness of effort. Disown and relinquish interest in anything that you observe and just remain as the awareness which observes. Even the thought that says, how do I do this, is effortlessly observed. That is why you know it. Are you the thought that is appearing, or are you that which sees it come and go? Be yourself. Even the thought that arises and says, this is such a hard and subtle practice. I'm not ready for this yet. I maybe have to do other meditation for a couple of years. Did you make any effort to know this thought? Are you that thought, or are you simply the awareness of it in which it is appearing, to whom it is known? When these questions are posed and your mind starts answering these questions in conceptual terms, are you those thoughts that are arising saying yes and no and this or that? Or are you the seeing in which they are effortlessly known? Through this simple little practice, you're exploring a dimension within yourself that is so you, so naturally and effortlessly you. It is not earned, not warranted, not merited, not on the other side of a big mountain of spiritual practice. It is so already you. But it requires you to stop thinking about yourself, because in thinking about yourself, you take yourself to be something other than what you effortlessly and naturally already always are. In thinking about ourselves, we become person. Let go. Stop believing in thoughts as me and my voice or mine. Don't give your me-ness, your I-ness, your selfhood to thought. Don't give it even an ounce of interest, an ounce of significance. Don't make an effort to stop thinking. Just notice yourself as the seer, which remains the same while thinking comes and goes. Thinking is the object to which you are the subject, you the seer. Thinking is an effort. The seeing of thinking is not an effort. Any thought that you become interested in, you'll become that thought. And your entire sense of reality will be imbued in that thought. It will rule you, it will become you. And you'll start to see from that thought. That's why the moment any notion arises in the mind, care not about it. Who cares? It is conceptual, it is a story, it is a description. The awareness of it is not a description. The awareness of it is not a story. It is fact. We are learning to step out of stories into fact, into what is. And what is not being efforted. It's an effort to constantly be this or that. But in being, just being, you're not making any effort. In thinking, in doing, in describing, there's effort. But the awareness of this efforting is not effortful. The thinking, the doing, the becoming, the being this or that, they all appear in form, as form. But awareness, being, self, is formless. You are not the body doing. You are not the mind deciding. You are not even the persona on behalf of whom you think you're doing this or deciding that. You, that which is aware, that which is, never appear as a form. You are not going to become that tomorrow. You're not going to become that after self inquiry. You, here and now, what you feel as I, what you feel as now, what you feel as truth, what you feel as real, that stamp of reality that you feel in this moment, you are that formless self in which this talking is arising, this hearing is happening, this thinking and doing and moving are all appearing. Are you thinking about this? That's useless. Are you trying to make mental sense of it? That is useless. Just like the eyesight cannot see thoughts, because thoughts are subtler than the objects the eyesight can perceive. Just like that, the mind cannot grasp the self, because the self is subtler than what the mind can perceive. The sooner we understand that, the sooner we can let go of this mental grasping for self. We cannot think our way into this. All thoughts in this practice are useless. Let them go. Stop caring so much. Here, thinking is a form of laziness, lack of alertness. Even that which feels a sense of threat by hearing these things is not you. Don't identify. Don't get hung up on it. Don't care. Don't put a sense of identity into feeling triggered, feeling hurt, feeling fearful. Mhm. That which is confused, that which is doubtful, that which doesn't understand. These are all passing clouds. Don't identify, don't believe in, don't care about, don't imbue a sense of identity or self into it. Otherwise, you'll become it. You'll become the confused one, the doubtful one, the fearful one, the triggered one. In this way, the self appears to be dancing as many masks, many costumes, but it is none of them. You are none of them. To wrap up this segment, there are a few clues, there are a few hints. It's like the fragrance of self, the fragrance of truth, the fragrance of reality inside of illusion that we have to learn to pick up on and use those portals to understand ourselves, to discover ourselves. What is this fragrance of reality? This hint of truth? Firstly, it is the now, the present. This seeming place where everything that you call me and my life happens, in which it all comes and goes while it always remains the same. The now is not being efforted, it is not being willed, it is not being maintained. You're not doing the now. It simply is. It is the space, the invisible space in which everything we call me and my life appears and disappears like a movie. Stop caring so much about the movie and become aware of the space. We must stop being so immersed in what is appearing and coming and going and become more interested in the space in which it is coming and going. Become more interested, more aware of, more intrigued by the space in which it is coming and going. Synonymous with the now or the present is also I, the feeling or the sense of self. It is not separate from the now. I is what you feel as here and now. The self is always now. Again, everything that we take to be me in my life continues to change. Whereas I, this feeling of self, the sense of self, the sense of what I am, does not change. It is the fragrance of truth inside of illusion. We must stop attributing the sense of identity, I, to all of the appearances which continue to change, such as the body, mind, self image. And become more acutely aware of, interested in the very sense of self itself. This last fragrance or hint of truth inside of illusion is presence, which is not separate from sense of identity, I. It's not separate from the now. No matter how many thoughts come and go, feelings come and go, no matter how much the body changes, the world that is appearing changes, it all appears in this presence, which itself is not changing. We must become more interested in, aware of this presence rather than just being totally lost in, immersed in the appearances, body, mind, and world. They're like a dream, unreal. We must follow this fragrance to reality. You are not the person that is appearing, that is trying to become presence now or I. You here and now are the presence, the now, the I, which is not a thing. It is not an object that is appearing. You are always and effortlessly always this. To become aware of that, to notice that, is to be that.